I would say for Africa, what are the challenges, if I'm honest? First, security, but we are able to deal with it. So I would say we are accustomed in the Niger Delta to deal with it. So of course, it requires some specific things because for a CEO like me, of course, security of my people is of primary importance, so I have to, that's almost, but I would say that's the point. There are countries which perfectly have integrate that. Angola, I will go to Angola and announce a very large project, $6 billion, beginning of the week.
The CEO of Total Energies speaking in the Africa CEO Forum organized by Jeune Afrique Media Group in partnership with the International Finance Corporation. This year's event was held in Rwanda. In explaining why Nigeria lost their $6 billion investment to Angola, he listed many factors. Insecurity, of course, he said that they could deal with insecurity, but if there are no security challenges in the Niger Delta, that's an advantage. He also mentioned legislative bureaucracy, that Nigerians love to open a debate and continue debating it perpetually, that it hurts businesses because businesses want stability, they want certainty.
You love to debate. You love to open topics without closing them. So when in Nigeria, for example, we have been, since I am in the business, there is always a new legislation in Nigeria about a new petroleum law. So when you have so in France we are accustomed, but we don't have oil and gas. In Nigeria, when you have a permanent debate, and it's difficult for investors who look for the long term to know where we go. And in fact, it has been bad, to be honest, because reality, unfortunately, I think that Niger Delta is the most prolific part of West Africa. But when you look what happened, because of this debate, there was not a single exploration well in Nigeria for 12 years. Last project we done it was Egina in 2014. So it's time now, sometimes, to good to have debate, but then to settle the debate and then to put a framework on the table so that the investor can trust.
Without this, they cannot plan ahead. No one wants to joke with his investment. No one gambles with billions of dollars in investment. So we should understand that we are in a competitive market, even in Africa. We have many countries that are willing, that need that money more than we do. They are more serious about attracting foreign investment. They are doing all the right things. Imagine him saying that Angola has a better working environment that attracts foreign investment more than Nigeria. It's a shame. It all shows that people managing our affairs are not competent, from the legislature to the executive branch, even to the courts. Security is the sole responsibility of the executive branch. They have to make sure that conglomerates and many businesses don't suffer insecurity. If the security of their staff members can't be guaranteed, then they will look elsewhere. Because obviously there are many countries in Africa where they have better operating environment. These companies don't have to deal with kidnapping. They don't have to deal with insecurities. So they will rather go there because it's the same oil, the same natural resources they are mining. It's just like people who are competing in a market. One offers better products with longer warranties and overall better customer service. The person will obviously attract more customers compared to people who offer less. It's as simple as that. It's time we realize that we are in a highly competitive market. Yes, challenges in the Niger Delta didn't start today, so you cannot specifically say that one particular government is responsible, but it's a cumulative effect. It started since the Fourth Republic. At that time, there was serious militancy in the Niger Delta. They were blowing up pipelines, a lot of instability at the time, until the government was forced to negotiate with them and started giving them contracts. They still give them contracts up to today. But all these haven't solved the security challenges in the Niger Delta. There is serious oil theft going on in the Niger Delta, which has forced many oil companies to stop drilling onshore. The few that are still operating in Nigerian waters are only operating offshore. This is why Nigeria's daily crude oil production has dropped nearly 50% to the numbers of 10 years ago, and successive governments haven't done much to increase that oil production, because oil production is the major way Nigeria earns revenue and foreign exchange. So you can imagine if government is not even interested in securing their source of revenue, how can the government allow non-state actors to be stealing their revenue? Because oil theft means they are stealing the revenue that should have gone to the government. It doesn't make sense. rather than making sure that that 100% comes to the government by deploying everything in their power to make sure they stop the oil theft.
Somebody like you, as the head of Total, still investing. You are back to investment. Apart from this, the deal that we just closed this morning, you've closed even one last week on gas. Okay, even us, we have closed deals with Shell on gas because it makes sense. But I think the biggest challenge that we have as entrepreneurs in Africa is the inconsistencies in policies. One now you say, okay, yes, today we are going to drive left hand, or you say, okay, fine. Goalpost is here, just in front of you. When you are about to score the goal, then the government will remind you, no, the goalpost has been changed to behind you. So, so these are the main issues that are actually, they can bankrupt anybody. So I think we need to really look at it that, look, our own political leaders, what you need to understand is that it's a win-win. It's like what they say, you cannot clap with one hand, you clap with two hands. Now, I was telling somebody was talking about, you people are making too much money in cement, blah, blah, blah. Then later on, I reminded the person that, look, go and check our figures. For every 1 naira that I turn around, government collects 52%. So
on every single naira?
On every single naira we turn around, 52% goes to the government through various taxes. Okay, so it's not a tea party. Everybody,
Dangote agrees with the CEO of Total Energies on his assessment of Nigeria's operating environment because he himself is facing serious issues in Nigeria. And by using the word that the government policy can bankrupt anyone is not surprising. The exchange rate alone, the devaluation of the naira, can bankrupt anyone. Governance is serious business, and the reason we have incompetent people in power managing our affairs is because of corruption. They are attracted because of the trappings of office and the money they can steal. So it's not a surprise that they can't do the right things, create the enabling environment, and enact the right policies to attract foreign investment. This is why it is futile going around the world and begging people to come and invest in your country when you can't even keep your house in order. All these people that are going to all these countries that are begging for investments, they know what is happening. They conduct their due diligence. It's just a waste of public funds. Why not divert that money into correcting and making sure that your country works, that it is attractive to foreigners so that they can bring that money and invest? It's a shame that since the past few years, successive governments, including the current administration, couldn't improve Nigeria's daily production of crude oil. That's why Dangote is buying crude oil from the United States. Yes, we don't have the capacity, the few capacity we have. They've sold some of them in advance. They use that to collect loans from financial institutions. So no one knows how long it will take to repay these loans because they are repaying them with crude oil. And according to Dangote, in a few weeks, his petrol refining capacity will be able to match Nigeria's daily requirements and consumption. So there will no longer be any need to import petrol in Nigeria or other refined products, aviation fuel and all that. Let's take a listen.
There is quite of, in fact, we just commissioned in February. We've started now, we're producing jet fuel, we're producing, gasoline, diesel. By next month, we'll be producing gasoline. But what that will do is that it will be able to take most of the African crudes that are being produced and also be able to supply not only Nigeria. Our capacity is too big for Nigeria, but it will be able to supply in West Africa, Central Africa, and also South Africa. We have 650,000 metric tons of, 650,000 barrels per day. We have 1 million tons of polypropylene. We have 590,000 carbon black, raw materials for, making ink, dyes, and co. And then we are expanding more. This is the first phase. We're actually going now to the next phase, which will start early next year.
All right. And an investment like this, Mr. Puyane, is also significant for your business across the continent because